Hey everybody, welcome back to another Let's Talk Bourbon. This is what we would call a quarantine edition. So I'm John,
I'm James.
and we're here to talk about our top three bourbons to drink during a pandemic.
And obviously we're using Zoom because we believe in flattening the curve, although when you look at John's bar, it's always a fun time before and after the episode. But we want to be kind of responsible drinkers during this. So
A lot of round bottles on that bar, but hey, if you guys have bunkers at home, this is what it was all about, right? This is your moment. This is your time. Drink as much as you need to drink in your bunker to feel happy, okay? No, drink responsibly.
yes,
That's
now you look like you're ahead of the curve, but we're flat.
right.
Yes.
Right. So there's a purpose behind the madness. But anyway, guys, we wanted to first off just apologize. We haven't seen you for a while. We had some fun things in store this year, and we've got actually a great group working on an upgraded version of our intro video. We're really excited about that. We have some really good footage, but just in the midst of all this logistics, etc., it sort of slowed us down, right? And then I think everybody in the nation has been hit to one degree or another about how to adapt during everything going on. Thankfully, James and I are still working individuals, so we certainly are lucky there, and we hope that you guys are staying safe and enjoying at home. And we'll try to continue to provide you with some content to watch because we know it takes just about whatever you can find right now to kind of keep busy. So.
And can you imagine buying stock in Netflix or Zoom a few months back? How smart you would have been then.
Yeah, well, and hand sanitizer, folks, with bourbon right now. So hey, if you got the means, do it, right? So, shout out to our first responders. Shout out to anyone out there working the front lines in an essential job, doing your best for us. We really appreciate you, and we hope you get to go home and drink more bourbon and continue to stay safe. So.
Be patient with the Kroger employees, your drivers who bring your food. They're doing the best they can. Everyone's got it rough right now. So that's drink more bourbon.
You guys might not have Kroger in your neck of the woods, but Publix, whatever grocery store chain, anyone working in those grocery stores right now, I mean, they're working hard for sure. And if you got local places you could do takeout to support, certainly helpful. And James and I have been very supportive of our local bartenders, especially on the bourbon front lines that are stuck at home right now. Do what you can to support them if it's gift cards or whatever. So anyway, on that note, we want to get you into the fun stuff. That's why you're here. So James and I thought about it, and we said, gosh, you had three bourbons to drink stuck at home in a pandemic. What would they be? And I think we broke it down to it would be our two daily drinkers, right? If we had our way, we would hit these every day and not feel too bad about it. And then what would be kind of a fun one if we just had a rough day? We had, somebody didn't social distance the right way, or something happened, and we just needed a better pour to deal with that, people. So anyway, James is going to kick us off. James, what do you got first up?
So first off, and I got it hidden right back here, this one borders, because in my opinion, a daily drinker is usually at the very most 30 or less, and Four Roses small batch is right up there. It's certainly, what do you think, John, about 30 or less for a daily drinker?
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little bit more than that, but right, less than 40 for a bottle.
Yeah, definitely. Four Roses small batch, it's always been my favorite of the traditional until small batch select, but at that price, it's definitely not going to be a daily drinker. I love it because it's got the 4 recipes. I've always been a champion. Coffee's known this for forever. I mean, I even prefer it over the small batch, especially the small batch 100, single batch 100.
Single barrel, yeah.
Single barrel, it's just not the same. I love that it's got the 4 recipes, and yes, I'm doing my cheat notes because that's where I keep all my information about bourbon. I really enjoy it. It's a wonderful daily drinker. Nice and mellow. It's good. It's got enough of the spice from the B recipes, but the E recipes kind of mellow it out where it's, it's a small batch. It's 4 different recipes of 4 roses. But I was sipping on this last night during the thunderstorm and just really enjoying it.
I think it's an excellent choice. I mean, we talked recently about the small batch select, and certainly if you have that in your market, and really just some markets had started to get that outside of Kentucky, and I didn't realize that when we started promoting it, James, but I found out a little bit after the fact that outside of Kentucky, not a lot of places were getting it. They were doing a slow rollout for that, but if you can't find that, certainly the Four Roses small batch is it's a staple. It's been around, but it is a phenomenal product, and I think it's an excellent choice.
Under $30, definitely drink. I mean, if I closed my eyes and thought, what would bourbon taste like? It'd definitely be one of my definitions of what bourbon should taste like.
And that permeates kind of your family too. You've got was it your mom that likes Four Roses, or someone else that?
Oh, so wife has got a fun question. If you could be any bourbon, what would you be? And I've always said she's definitely the Four Roses single barrel select that came from Wine and Market, because it was very caramelly and sweet, but in the back it had a hot pepper finish. And it kind of reminded me of her, that she's really sweet, but if you get too deep into her, she's kind of hot pepper, and she's a little fiery. So she always liked that definition. That's why she uses some. Yeah, we're definitely a Four Roses group, just like you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's not to like about that point? And the fact that, there are other distilleries we won't name that rolled out some changes for signature products, but didn't introduce it in Kentucky first. We'll leave it at that.
We do live in Kentucky, and I think the bourbon community in Kentucky really likes to hope that the distilleries that have been here, and all the fandom that started here and the grassroots movement continue to be taken care of first. And unfortunately, we're not necessarily seeing that done right across all distilleries. So that's a great point. Well, my first one is Sazerac Rye.
Baby Saz.
I know you guys are going to say, well, John, that's not bourbon. You tell us that's rye. Well, guess what? You're right. That's 100% right. But it does come from Bourbon Distillery, Buffalo Trace Distillery. And, truthfully, I like good rye spice. And honestly, it is kind of funny because with these, I'm kind of a rye snob. I don't like a lot of just variety of ryes. There's just a few ryes that I really, really like. And then there's a ton of ryes that I just don't like. But Baby Saz or Sazerac Rye, being like a 6-year plus product, it never lets me down, never fails me. Again, $30 for a bottle, and it's still a little hard to find here and there, but
it can get tough. Got to give a shout out to Whiskey Bear, because they had a great kit that they put together before, and I'm sure they're still offering it but it was their Manhattan, which include Baby Saz, and I'm like, wow. You can keep the other stuff, just give me the Baby Saz. So it was a heck of a deal.
Jeez,
and it's a great whiskey.
Yeah, it is. And it's 90 proof, because it's a lower proof expression too, and it's not too old and it's not too pricey. James, I think that's a great point. You just mentioned a bar using it as a cocktail. You can use it at home for a cocktail and not feel bad about it. And I think if a cocktail calls for a rye, what better rye than this one?
No,
really.
That's a perfect rye. And, when it's accessible for the price, it's hardly any other bang for the buck.
Yeah. Well, so that's my first one on the list. What about you for a second one?
So no one's going to be shocked by this one if you've watched any of our episodes. But I'm a homer. Yeah, you knew that was coming. It's 101 proof, so you're going to get some great bang for your buck. And it's another one that when I sip on it, I'm like, it's funny. Both of these are the high rye end, which is, kind of weird the way I cut my teeth on makers and more of the mellow. But I got this liter for the liter was like $25 for a liter, 101 proof bourbon. I mean, you could drink this all day, really enjoy it, and also not feel any grief about the price. I mean,
Do you
it's just
find that it's nutty?
no, that's Jim Beam products. No, this,
Okay.
once again, I was kind of prepping myself last night for the episode and drinking on this during the storm. It's just, oh, it's a sweet rye. And for the price, how it matures as it opens up is just incredible for their entry level product. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, I hope the secret never gets out, although they make a crap ton of it. But I mean, over
But
100,
I know
over 100 proof, and it's solid.
I know Chad has always said that that's one of his go-tos. He loves Wild Turkey 101, and yeah, it's a great product. And again, and it's a staple. You know, I don't think much has changed outside of the label, and they keep it a consistent, good, solid quality product. And obviously, same yeast strain that they've got partitioned out to the world. If a building burns down, that you
Yes.
continue to get the same thing. So
Yeah, it just two great examples of what I would just consider bourbon, and two good price points you can just sip on and not feel guilty for trying to break your bank. Definitely not the 101.
absolutely. Well, my next one, this has been a go-to for me for a while. I really enjoy it now. You know, I will admit that this version of it it's a private barrel selection, but it doesn't matter. The regular small batch I still love too. So I'm going with Elijah Craig. This we actually picked with Bluegrass Tavern and Whiskey and Wine and Market here in Lexington. Just a really phenomenal bottle of whiskey. But oh no, I always loved Elijah Craig. It was one of my first just favorite pours. It's very smooth drinking whiskey. It's got some to it, but it's not overly powerful on the proof. So I think, you know, regardless of the day, the time, of year even, it's just a solid pour all around. Easy drinker. And small batch Elijah Craig is maybe, you know, $35 for a bottle, I think. And even this one, the private barrel pick, when you see them, they're going to be in that same range, which is just a heck of a price because you're talking about a whiskey that's probably, again, around 8-year small batched together. So
yeah, they're really nice. I mean, I think it's kind of fun because it's somewhere in between the two that I have proof wise. So I mean, it's not lower. It's still, you know, above 90, but not quite 100. But that 94 proof, it's real. It's a solid pour. Enough proof to fill your mouth, but not enough proof to light you up.
Yeah, and I will call out. I mean, my first drinker that I went out with Big Guns, so a little bit of acclamation here, folks, because that one's spicy. It's a rye. I mean, it's throwing everything at you, but it's not super hot, right? It's just spicy. This one is kind of like that mellower, subtler, beautiful sort of chocolatey bourbon that just, you know, you keep coming back for, and it's dangerous even. So but you know, I wouldn't recommend probably drinking a rye right before that. I probably shouldn't have started it that way, but you know, I'm acclimating and it's really good. So and we love their barrel proof, and you've heard us say that, but I mean, heck, their small batch as a go-to option, especially when you're quarantined in.
Yeah.
You know, sacrifices must be made. That's not a bad one to make, I don't think.
And a shout out to it's Bourbon Night. Kind of surprised they're live last week. The Elijah Craig Barrel Proof beat out Stag Jr., which was kind of surprising to me. I'm like, you know, but I agree.
Surprise me because Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is probably one of the first barrel proofs that I ever really enjoyed and said, wow, barrel proof whiskey is the direction that I want to go. And this was before there was a lot of them out there. And, you know, I think you were seeing the B-Tax and stuff that were barrel proof, but I don't think people really got that. Elijah Craig was one of the first ones to just spell it out on their label, barrel proof, right? Stag Jr., I think several expressions. It was just too much for me. And their recent ones, though, the past year have gotten better. So, you know, people say, you know, hey, this isn't the whiskey for me, and then they just never go back to it or don't want to try it again. I encourage folks all the time to go back and try the new version or the 2.0 or the 3.0 expression of it, because year to year can be really different.
Can be very different.
So, and I found that with the Stag Junior, because somebody actually encouraged me to do that, where I was like, I'm good, you know. And somebody said, no, you got to try this year's. It's really good. And I tried it, and I was like, wow. So, got to take my own advice sometimes.
Sometimes. So, when we've had a hard day, how about you go first? What are you going to pour?
Well, James, I hate to say this, because I don't want to make myself look like I'm loyal to just one distillery. But again, we're talking about go-tos, hard times. What do you have? What would you go to as a smooth, easy drinker? You know, no frills. So something maybe a little bit more special that's harder to find. I would move to a Rock Hill Farms.
Yes, nothing wrong with that. It's a shame that's a unicorn now, but that's pretty close to a unicorn anymore.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, that really is kind of recent for around here. Probably more recent in a lot of places, but you know, it's an ancient age mash bill. So guys, just so you're kind of filled in again on that, you know, Blanton's, Elmer Teely, Rock Hill, Ancient Age, of course, they're all cut from the same mash bill, which is the Ancient Age mash bill. And although it is made by Buffalo Trace, it is still owned by Ancient Age International. So it's kind of like a contract distilling agreement. So Japanese company owning this mash bill. And so all those different Blanton's expressions that we're upset about not seeing that go overseas, you know, it's just one of those things where there's a lot of conversations that have to happen. However, there is light in the tunnel. We did hear recently that Blanton's is going to release their gold to the United States soon. That'll be a huge change.
Which is going to be great, because one of the things I was upset about with the COVID is I was going to take a cruise, and that was the first thing I was looking for when I hit the bomb is give me several bottles of the gold so I could bring it back. And although the chances of us finding it around here in Lexington are, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So this would be one of my saver go-tos, rough days, somebody not social distancing the right way. Beautiful bottle. Use it as a decanter.
Now refresh me. What's the proof on that one again?
This one's 100 proof.
100 proof. Yeah.
So it's a 7-year-ish 100 proof, where Elmer T's that 9-year 90 proof. Rock Hill isn't is not a well, it is a single barrel, but it's the 7-year 100 proof, where Elmer's the 9-year 90 proof single barrel version, and then of course Blanton's is single barrel by default.
Right.
So different year variations based on the one. So I like Rock Hill a little better than Elmer. I think Elmer is phenomenal, but Rock Hill just being that little bit higher proof. I think anything in that 7 to 9 year range for me is a sweet spot. So truthfully, that's where I gravitate.
And I tend to go 10 to 12. So yeah.
All right. Well, what about you? I'm going to enjoy this one. So cheers to everyone watching.
I hate that we're kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. And we got a story behind this, because we did help Silver Dollar did a private barrel pick of a Weller 107.
And for those of you that don't know, the Silver Dollar is a phenomenal bar in Louisville. Shout out to Larry and Susie, who both own the Silver Dollar and the Pearl, which is the sister bar. And again, check them out online, guys. If you want to donate to them in any way, they're, I think, trying to sell gift cards, things like that. And, you know, just staple in Louisville. Probably one of the best bourbon bars in the country by far anyway, but wonderful folks. So we were helping out, and
and they did their barrel pick, and, you know, they're experts at bourbon, and their picks have always been amazing. We helped with this release, got a chance to purchase, and it was purchased. We ain't giving nothing away for free. There are no free meals. And,
nothing free here. Yeah.
But it's outstanding, and I could understand why there was a line waiting for this. And what's even more amazing is this one is they did the liter version, which is even cooler.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just I've said this before, and I kind of got reawakened to weeders thanks to Makers 101. If you everyone in the bourbon community kind of dogs on weeders until you proof them up, and then you realize really what it is. Just like Weller Antique's always been kind of that special go-to, and then you pick a single barrel. It's just so good, just outstanding.
It's a great point. Wheat is such a much subtler grain, and of course you know this. You're the distiller between the two of us, but it's a softer, subtler grain. That's why it caters to a different palate sometimes. But I think in lower proofs, wheat doesn't really get an opportunity to shine. I think it really needs to be in a higher proof for people to understand, the flavor. I don't know, complexity, right, of it. So.
Yeah, I guess water and wheat don't mix. Who knows? It's a watered down, but gosh, this was their first of the 2 barrel picks, and this truly my favorite. It's just outstanding. So yeah, bad day. This will definitely help any kind of bad day. And it's sad that this is kind of almost more of a unicorn, which just used to be an everyday drinker. But it's a single barrel, so it does make it a little tough. But good luck finding that Weller Antique on the shelf anymore. It's just a shame.
Yeah, I mean, and at one point you could find Weller Antique for $25-$30. Unfortunately, now if you find it, you might pay $45 for it, but it is a little bit more readily available than the other Weller products. So and to that point, I will say that going against the grain of this, that Weller Special Reserve actually I do not like. I like 107. But that Special Reserve, because it is lower proof, I just not a fan. Not a fan.
No, you're not the first I've heard to say that, and won't be the last. But maybe that supports the argument that if you're going to put out a wheat product, proof it up at least. I know Bill is totally, Samuels from Maker's Mart is totally against the idea of a 4-year bottled and bond product, probably because the 4-year term. But the 101. Yeah, that's definitely drinkable, and it kind of like Woodford Double Oak fixed all supposed issues with Woodford. I think 101 fixes all the problems with Makers, and 107 fixes the problems with Special Reserve. You got to proof up a weeder.
Yeah, I mean you can, and this is a great case study with Four Roses for sure, because we've talked about them introducing products, but they're not doing anything different other than just. Maybe the blend's different, maybe the proof's different, but essentially you're getting different expressions of the same kind of stuff, and it's not impacting their distillation process necessarily, but it is making you think about how the finished product ends up in the bottle. And so Makers, I think they had a great first step with the cask strength, because for me, I wasn't a big Makers fan. Makers 46, I'm like, okay, I can drink that. And then when Maker's Cask Strength came out, I said, wow, I really like this. And then, of course, the 101, it's really good too. So it just goes to show, don't give up on a mash bill, because a different expression of it could really change your opinion. And I think you remember the video we did with Old Forester when we did the 1915.
Yes. Yeah, and it depended on the different formula. I mean,
it depended
on that formula. Although a lot of bars do half and half, which is fine. I think the half and half is very good, and it just kind of elevates both products to be better than what they are.
Yeah. I mean, but just minor tweaks, right? That's why they call some of these folks master blenders for that reason. So anyway. So these are our picks, guys. We think that we're onto something here, but hey, we know we're not the only one with a bunker. So I guess I'll show mine too. So my top two again, just home drinkers were these.
The Elijah Craig and the Baby Sass.
Elijah Craig, Baby Sass.
My two home drinkers were Four Roses Small Batch and Wild Turkey 101. And your special one was?
Rock Hill Farms.
and Weller Antique 107 Silver Dollar Edition. So I have to throw that out there. Great bar. Visit them. And if you're in Louisville, I'm pretty sure, I know most restaurants here in the Bluegrass are doing drive up. So yeah, if I could do drive up, beer can quail, I'd be all over that.
Well, and some of the stores are getting temporary kind of package license scenarios so they could sell some of these bottles that we're talking about too, guys. So worth reaching out. So anyway, I just wanted to say, we appreciate you all again. We hope everybody's staying safe. We would love to hear from you. What your go-to bourbons are and your special pour at home as you're kind of kicking through your bunker. I think it'll be fun to see if anyone finds things. I know that I do sometimes that, hey, I forgot I had this, right? This is the break in case of emergency or in case of a pandemic kind of bottle. So, I'd love to hear from you all. And we appreciate your comments and feedback. They've been coming in. And we've got new subscribers, and we're appreciating you guys for riding along.
Thank you, guys.
So,
thank you.
And if you wouldn't mind, of course, click our link above to like and subscribe. It'll be there somewhere. It keeps us going and keeps us honest. Tell your friends about us. And we appreciate the It's Bourbon Night family. Us as the stepchild. We're happy to be the stepchild. We love Chad and Sarah. And anyway, definitely check their channel out if you haven't already. They've got some great content, and certainly we support them however we can. So from that point of view, we appreciate you guys. Again, stay safe. Drink more bourbon at home. At home. No social gathering.
No,
social distance. People watch.
Zoom has been great. Zoom is great. All that other stuff that we can do without having to see each other physically would be awesome. Absolutely. So, John, cheers to staying at home.
Yeah, virtual cheers to you guys.
Be careful out there, everybody.
Yeah, take care.